Today we are going to configure Cisco ISE to authenticate with layer 2 switch and to use .1x and to integrate Cisco ISE with AD server and enforce our local computer to use local user from AD server as an authorization. So we will connect Cisco ISE with our layer 2 switch and we will connect to our AD server, and then we will use local computer to make an authentication and to test an authorization, and we can audit the authentication and authorization by using Cisco ISE 2. So we will assign IP address to AD server 192.168.1.211 and 192.168.1.22, and our virtual IP for layer 2 switch will be 192.168.1.23. So this will be using .1x, and then our local computer will use 192.168.1.x because the HTTP will be releasing from our home router. And that's it. Let's get started. First, we will integrate our Cisco ISE to our AD server. And in this scenario, we will select two domain from our AD server, which is our domain computer and our domain user. And we can go to identity source sequence to check our authentication list. So here we have internal user, we have all AD, and we have guest users. We will create a new one. Here in authentication list, I will use only AD01, which is my AD server. So the next step, you will have to add a network device. So here's the thing, you can add any network device with Cisco ISE, but you will have to make sure that the authentication method that you want to use is comply with a network device that you want to use with Cisco ISE. In this case, we use .1x, and we're gonna have to make sure that our network device can support .1x, or you can use MAC authentication bypass or another authentication method like VPN authentication or web authentication. So the next step is to configure a policy. So the first condition that I will use is to check authentication with our switch. And we can also walk through to default network access protocol in case we really wanted to check that which authentication protocol is supported on Cisco ISE. And you can also see an authentication method under a protocol service here. And the second condition is to configure policy to use wire.1x authentication. And the third condition in my policy is to use an authorization from my AD server. And here we log into our local computer to set up a password. And then we will have to look for a service, a wire config to make change in wire auto config. We will have to set the startup type to be automatic. And this service will be responsible for performing IEEE 802.1x. and then we will have to go back to start our service again. So after you saw me re-enter to a property of our network connection many times, you can see that there is authentication configuration pop up here. You can also see that the IEEE X02.1X authentication is enabled here, and then we go to setting, we uncheck validating for certificate because we didn't use it, and then we uncheck automatically use our password from window logs on because we didn't use it too. And then you can also see that we can specify authentication mode to use computer authentication or user authentication or guest authentication. In this scenario, we will use user authentication. So we have tested this on if-ng simulation, and many times the network connection on if-ng simulation has error occurred, and that's why we have to configure our switch to execute command shut and noshut many times and check authentication status under our switch interface. the status of our network connection is still unidentified, so we will have to disable and enable again. Okay, so it is attempting to authenticate with our AD server, so it looks perfect. So as we have checked our switch, we can see that the .1x authentication status is successful, and the second step that we have to prove that our authentication is work is to make sure that our client receive IP address from DHCP server. Okay, as I have checked authentication session on Ethernet 0/1, I can see that we have got an IP address from the DHCP server, which is 192.168.1.53, so which means this is done. Okay guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.